Well, hello there, you stormer, and welcome to the first ever weekly Outlook video, and maybe the last, we'll see. But we're going to look at the world's weather for the week ahead. Let's see if we can find some potential tropical cyclones, flooding events, big fronts, extratropical cyclones, polar lows, volcanoes, I don't know. But we're going to look and see what's going on, what's going to happen in the forecast all around the world, see if there are any potential big events that are coming. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. I have no idea what's going on. Aside from when you look at this image, you can see there's a tropical cyclone making landfall in southern China right now. I don't know what the name of it is. Let's have a look. Let's take a closer look at that tropical cyclone. It is actually a typhoon, a weak typhoon, but it's made landfall. Well, it's actually kind of skirting along the coast of southern China. It looks like it's given a bit of a hit to Macau. It kind of moved to the south of Hong Kong. It's going to move along the coast, affecting a large area as a tropical storm strength system. For now, it is still officially a typhoon, but it's only 5 knots off, weakening towards tropical storm. With all that land interaction, it will be weakening down. But you can see the track is really paralleling the coast, so there's going to be a large area impact. So I think we should check out the rainfall totals to start with in the days ahead. Here are the European Center medium range weather forecasting rainfall totals, and this is just for the next few hours, 7 hours. That's showing the 100 millimeters of rain as the storm is moving in towards this area, Yangjiang. And I've put a marker over here, and there's a reason for that. I'm going to just pull this forward to see how the rain progresses as the storm moves along the southern coast of China. Really, really heavy rain, but it does keep moving, which is good because that means the rain progresses to a new area rather than staying over one area and flooding it. The problem is actually, at least in this model, a bit later, as we move into Tuesday, the storm heads towards Vietnam, and then we see some really huge totals. The huge totals are over the water, but that is an enormous total over just probably a day or two. That's half a meter of rain over the water, but this rain is moving in over to northern Vietnam, and we'll take a look at those totals as well over the land. If I pull this over, we'll see that it is still pretty high, 200 millimeters, and then moving into the interior, that's Laos. And so I would expect some flooding in this area. That may be in the news. Hopefully it is not too severe, but it could well be. So folks, we are off to the races. We've already got a potential really nasty flooding event with Typhoon Wipha, which will turn into Tropical Storm Wipha as it heads into northern Vietnam and northern Laos. Potential. Let's take a look at since we've got the rain totals for the globe over the next 3 days. This is going out to Wednesday. So from now until Wednesday, this gives us an indication of where there are some. That's interesting. What's going on down there? Where the heaviest rain is. There's been some really, really nasty systems going up the Ganges basin, and there's been flooding rains in Pakistan recently. It doesn't look like their rains are as bad now. It looks like they're dying down. But I think I will look at that satellite imagery because it is quite impressive, just to show you what has been going on. So here we have what India looked like. India and Pakistan, Bangladesh over here, India, and Pakistan here. This is what it looked like yesterday. This is the NOAA 21 VERS view. And what you can see is there's a circulation system over in the northwest of India and into Pakistan. What I'm going to do is go back. This is a monsoonal depression because it's monsoon time of year there. Go back in time. We're going to see this thing. This is where it was before, so you can see how it moved up. Oh, come on, satellite. We've lost it. Okay, well, anyway, there it was over Bangladesh. Switch to another one, maybe Suomi. So there it is over Bangladesh on the 14th of July. So it came in off the Bay of Bengal. Wasn't a tropical, well, maybe it was a tropical storm. I'm not sure. I have to check. But it came up and then it moved up along the Ganges basin, as you sometimes see that happen. And it's really the some of the imagery, I think particularly from Terra Modis. Let's just get that up. You can see that it looks almost tropical cyclone-like as it developed a really strong circulation. And then it moved, but there was another one before it as well, and that moved into Pakistan. I think that's what really brought the flooding rain. There are some indications in the models that tropical Typhoon Wipha actually may intensify back into typhoon strength. The Hurricane Wharf here has it passing past to the north of Hainan Island over China, but as it enters into the South China Sea, far north of the South China Sea, it intensifies in the Hurricane Wharf. There's some indications of this even in the European Center model, even though it has the coarser resolution data. And the Hurricane Wharf intensifies it to back to typhoon. In this scale, the typhoon is when it's over in the purples. It's over 64 knots. So it's actually a pretty decent, or perhaps a rapid intensification as it enters that warm waters. It'll all depend on the track and how much land interaction there is. But we could see the typhoon strength system making landfall in northern Vietnam, which would increase the problems there. Landfall time is around 6Z on Tuesday, 6 UTC on Tuesday. So probably around the middle of the day local time. To compare, here is the European Center forecast showing intensification to strong tropical storm strength just prior to landfall. And this is coarser resolution, so it may not be capturing the full extent of the intensification. I'll just add that this is a little bit majorly unpredictable because of the significant amount of land interaction occurring over the next few days prior to the storm getting into this position. It has to move all the way from here over to here, interacting with all of this land and even crossing a peninsula. Let's take a look at the Atlantic. We have got a disturbance 1, 10% chance of formation in 7 days. Well, I don't think this is going to be a major hurricane, but it could be a problematic tropical storm. Let's take a look. There seems to be some inhibiting factors in the Atlantic that are preventing this system from properly developing into a significant tropical cyclone. Here is the disturbance just showing up as a kink really in the trade winds up to, we're coming into Tuesday now. And you can see it move through. It remains an unintensifying trade wind disturbance type feature that picks up the winds a bit as it moves in towards the Caribbean. But it doesn't look like it's intensifying to me. There is also action in the eastern to / central Pacific, or moving towards the central Pacific. Disturbance 1 for the eastern Pacific. 20% chance of formation. This is again another not especially interesting system. Or is it? Look at this. It comes up and doesn't really do anything. What it is going to do is pick up the trade winds over Hawaii towards the end of the week, and also probably bring a pulse of moisture. So if we look at the rain as the X or whatever system comes through, we hardly see anything. Huh. Okay. Usually you'd see like an uptick of rainfall signature, but it's almost completely not there. Oh, okay, so it's there, and then moving towards the Big Island around Friday, so let's take a look. That system in here. So yeah, not an interesting system. Maybe a uptick in trade winds and trade showers. One of the things that could be hurting that Atlantic system is a dust plume coming off the Sahara. Looks like it's a pretty decent one. This is the dust mass as calculated by Copernicus. And you can see that continues on, and the system is somewhere embedded in here. So it has all that dust. The dust acts to warm the middle troposphere, and I think that that's the problem here. That warming acts to stabilize the environment and inhibits development. I think that we should be able to see this on the satellite though. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, this is very cool. We can see the dust plume really clearly coming off the Sahara. I flick through a couple of images here, and let's see how this thing has moved. Up in the north, we've got the Canary Islands, which are these islands in here, and then the Cape Verde Islands, famous for the name of the Cape Verde hurricanes, because this is where some hurricanes, particularly those long tracking ones that go all the way across the Atlantic, they kind of originate in that area. So if we click on the Suomi, no, not that one, the Aqua, you can see how it kind of moves and pushes out like a giant half of a mushroom. And then the Noah 20 Burrs is also a good one because it avoids those black gaps, so we can see more clearly. In fact, I'm going to stick with that to go back in time, and we should be able to see this thing punching off of Africa. Somewhat. Oh, look at that. There is actually a little disturbance off of Mauritania. Was there and then came to nothing. Actually, you can't really see it too well punching off. But yeah, that's a thing. Since we're looking at the satellite, let's go back to one of our favorites, Lake Eyre, Central Australia. Just show you where that is in case you're not familiar. So there's Australia, and then right in the center is Lake Eyre. This is an enormous area, and there's the lake is currently pretty much at maximum level. Maybe there are a few areas that haven't quite filled out, but it has really, this is one of the highest extents ever seen in the satellite, in this particular satellite record, which goes back to 2000. I don't think I've seen it this full ever before in this record. So that's 25 years. And zooming out, you can see where it came from by the green scars of vegetation that has grown up as the floods progressed down, and they came down over the course of many months from rainfall that originated in Queensland. We have a couple of videos on this channel on Lake Eyre if you want to learn more about that. But it's really been an extraordinary event this year. That is now culminating in the filling of Lake Eyre and the filled Lake Eyre. In terms of volcanoes, we are keeping a close eye on Lower Toby and Laki Laki on Flores Island, Indonesia. That is in here. Can we see it? I thought it's in here. I think it's in here. If I put on the place labels, I think it might actually show it up. Where are you, Lower Toby? Oh, there it is. I was looking at the wrong island. This is Flores, which is where Lower Toby is. In fact, I've just moved it back to the 19th of July. Lower Toby is in here. And you can see there's actually quite a lot of apparent eruption on this day. So I think I will check out the Himawari satellite loop for this day. It looks like something happened. Nope. When we check the Himalaya, you can see that it's actually just some high cloud that was drifting over and kind of gave the impression that something was going on. But we weren't. We are keeping an eye on this volcano. I'm telling you, it has been going absolutely nuts over the last year or so, a couple of years. Big explosions. And so we'll keep an eye on it. Well, actually, looking at the latest loop right now, it's erupting. You can see a plume of volcanic eruption plumage coming down, so it's getting pulled towards the south in some northeasterly winds. It's not a particularly massive plume compared to past ones, but it's still pumping away down there. That would be. Looking at the global temperatures for the days ahead, the thing that strikes me is actually up in Russia, somewhere that we'll never get to visit, I don't think. But up in this area, even on this coast, which is bordering the Arctic Ocean, where it gets savagely cold in winter, have a look at these temperatures, because it is quite hot in the coming days up there. Wind with southerly winds dragging heat, warming up over the summer sunshine of Russia, and the temperatures at the coast. Let's check out on this day up here. We've got 28 Celsius on the coast of the Arctic Ocean. That's pretty damn hot, I think. So I'm actually going to check the satellite image because this is, it's going to be 27 Celsius here. It's kind of interesting because this area actually has ice in the ocean at the moment from the winter freeze still sticking in there. If we go into world view, see some of the ice patches as ice moves around the northern coast of Russia and the Arctic Ocean. Over here, a bit more to the east, big plumes of ice. And I wonder what the Arctic sea ice extent is at the moment. Big system down there. Okie dokie, let's have a look at that. For that, we go to the National Snow and Ice Data Center. And that shows the current sea ice extent in white. And then we have the median ice edge from 1981 to 2010, and that's in the sort of orangey line here. And so basically what this shows is that over here, the ice is further towards it's a little bit more extensive. Over here, it's less extensive. Over this area of Russia, you can see that it's retracted back from where it would be on the average. And then over here in the far northeastern Atlantic, there's a big chunk which is way far to the north of where it would be on the median. In terms of the total extent in comparison to historical values, it is way below the median. So there is much less sea ice than the median. And it's also running quite close to 2012, which I think is on here because it was the record low year, or I'm presuming that's why it's on here. Yeah, this should be a global news story, frankly, which is that the Arctic sea ice extent has been tracking at near record low levels through much of June, and on certain days it hit the lowest recorded levels ever recorded for that particular day in terms of extent. You can read more about it on the National Snow and Ice Data Center articles, and we'll see what the next article has to say. But it's near record low for sea ice extent in the Arctic. And having 28 Celsius off the coast of Russia, it is not going to help. But yeah, that's some stuff. A bunch of random things, and I really need your guys' help in finding more things going on. We've got you can help out by joining us on the Discord. provide any information or photos from your particular location. We're looking for people all over the world to join in and share their weather pictures. The idea being, if there's significant weather around the world, we'd have people on the ground that could report it and show us pictures. I mean, obviously, we do on social media and do all that sort of stuff, but it'd be cool on Discord, and it's a really nice, friendly community. Hardly anyone there. It's pretty empty, but you should come and join us because it's something.